Pittsburgh Steelers fans, Steel Curtain Network listeners, know-it-all listeners, thanks for tapping in for another Monday night episode of The Hangover. I'm one of two tonight. Our boy Daniel J is out this evening, so I'm kind of in the pilot seat with Shannon being the co-pilot tonight, but you'll still get the same great Steeler information we always try to impart upon you every Monday night. So, Shannon, what's good, man? How you doing? How was your last week up till now, and how's your week started, man?
Well, it was a great week. We had a really nice weekend and got through the Monday and now the good stuff, getting to do the podcast with my buddy Tate.
No doubt, man. It's always a great time we get together. I'm going to try and, trying to keep us on a good trajectory as far as, what we talking about, keeping it moving. But, so it's two of us, so can't be too much talking between two people, But yeah, man. So today in Steeler news, right? Let's just jump right into it. Today in Steeler news, the Steelers signed running back Travis Homer. I believe a 7-year veteran, played with Seattle, last played with Chicago. Running back. But running back only in the positional sense, right? Not that he's ever been more than a third down back ever in his career. Not that he's carried a workload or had many rushing attempts even over his career. Shannon and I were just talking about it backstage. I'll let Shannon tell you who his thought is, who Travis Homer is replacing. A lot of talk today about if Caleb Johnson was going to be out of there because of this move and all that kind of stuff like that. But yeah, so Shannon, I'll just go to you and tell us what you think about the signing and acquisition of Travis Homer.
Well, he's, a lot of times when a young man's recruited out of high school, he'll be termed an athlete if he's not, position specific. And that's kind of like what Travis Homer is. He's a football player. He's a professional football player who's always carried out his assignments. He's always been a reliable player. Sounds like a good locker room guy. To me, I heard people say, was this mean they're not happy with Caleb Johnson? Well, it has nothing to do with Caleb Johnson. It has to do with they lost some special team players who were kind of specialists. Namely, the one that obviously comes to mind is Connor Hayward. And I'm not saying he's going to do the tush push or anything of that nature, but Connor Hayward made, the most impact as a Steeler on special teams. He was a good cover guy. He could play on the different block units. So I think that's what they brought Homer in to be, is I think he's going to compete for a position and be a kind of a special team specialist. He can return kicks, even though that's really not his forte either. But again, that versatility. Connor Hayward had some versatility, and I think Homer does as well.
No, I completely agree with you, Shannon. I know I was one of the ones they signed a running back, right? I mean, and I think Big G sent that in one of our chats this morning, and my immediate question was, what's that mean for Caleb Johnson? Not knowing the intricacies of what Travis Homer has been as a running back throughout his career. And we were talking backstage, and like I said, I saw where the past 3 seasons, he's had 7 total carries rushing the ball. So at best, he's a special teamer with all those capabilities and a third down back at best, a receiving back. Because you're not putting him in to tote the rock. He's not that guy.
Yeah.
Right? So definitely thinks he's a special teams guy. And we did lose a lot of special teams guys, Shannon. You're right. I mean, I think about James Pierre is gone, right? Yep. Connor Hayward is gone.
Miles
Killebrew is gone.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, I believe, they'll fill with some spots in the draft. I believe the linebacker Bruner will take over as special teams captain for Killebrew. He's young, but he's a special teams ace. He was that at Washington.
Yeah.
He was that at Washington. I think he'll take care of that. You still got Skoranek, who was a Pro Bowler last year.
You don't know if Jeremiah Moon will be back. Right now, he's unsigned. and he was the special teams guy they depended on. So, I mean, yeah, you don't want your starters having to log a lot of minutes on special teams because it just increases the chances of injury, much less wear and tear and fatigue, which you want your starters to use their energies where it's best served. So, yeah, I think that we might even see some more guys, guys like Savage, who they just brought in, who's a big-time hitter, who could give them a lot on special teams. A lot of our quality depth guys are going to obviously be key special teams contributors.
Definitely agree with that part of it. So I didn't think about it till you mentioned it about Connor Hayward. He was the tush push ace.
Yeah.
Do you know or have any idea who, if they were to run that, and no guarantees Mike McCarthy even runs that, who's the favorite to be the tush push guy now?
In my opinion, it's something that every team should practice.
They should have
it. Should run if you have anybody capable, because it's a safer play as far as less chance of turnover because you're not transferring the ball just from the center to the quarterback or whoever's taking the snap. And it's a way to easily get a half yard if you're competent at it, which the Steelers did pretty good last year, even with Connor Hayward. It wasn't like he was explosive or anything, but he was just bigger and more powerful than any of the quarterbacks, because it's not going to be Aaron Rodgers, as we know. If it's, it depends. If Will Howard, if you used him, or some of the guys we're going to talk about here a little bit later in the show, if you get a bigger, younger, more athletic quarterback, it's always good to use your quarterback because they could, fake it, drop back, make a quick pass, something that we didn't expect Connor Hayward to do.
No, agree. My sneaky suspicion, don't know what he is, just know he played quarterback in high school. Rico Dowdle played quarterback in high school.
Yep.
So he's.
Yeah, I think you'd like somebody taller, preferably though.
Because
a lot of times you're just getting the lean. Like if your guys don't win the initial surge, if you've got a taller quarterback, or a guy like you look at Jalen Hurts. Come on, let's be honest. The guy's squatting 600 pounds. I mean, he's so strong in the lower body and athletic. He'll get to you that half yard to yard. But a lot of guys, like if they kind of have the pocket kind of come back under them, they don't really get any lift, so they're having to rely on the lean. So that's why I'd like a little taller guy in there.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I was just, suggesting the familiarity with taking the CQ exchange.
And it would also be great to have somebody with his athleticism. Dow is very strong and powerful lower body, a very he keeps them legs driving. So like you said, that would be a great option.
Right.
Especially because Frazier's quick off the ball. Frazier is strong and he's quick off the ball. And if they get, let's say, hey, I'm gonna go kind of think ahead here. Let's say they get Vega. You would definitely want to go over around Vegas side and Frazier. That's where you'd want to go.
Vega, yeah, you would. But yeah, so that's a segue to the next thing we'll talk about. It's been some of the Steelers' top 30 visits, and I'll pull that up. But first, we'll get into. There's been talk again brewing. Dan Orlovsky, Dan.
Yeah.
He said, Dan Orlovsky said that Ty Simpson should be QB1 in this quarterback class over Fernando Mendoza.
Well, I mean, I disagree. Now, I mean, I'm not saying I know more than Dan Orlovsky or any of the others. I mean, we all have our opinions. We all have guys that we like better than others. I understand he's looking at it from McCarthy's system. But we have to look at it more than just that system, because hopefully whether McCarthy in his reign, his tenure in Pittsburgh is successful or not, if you spend the first round draft pick on a quarterback, you'd love to have a guy for 10 years. Let's just be honest. And I want a guy who's going to not so much just fit McCarthy's system. It's somebody who needs to fit the culture, the elements, the division, and I do not think that's Ty Simpson. I'm a huge Mendoza fan. I love the kid's competitiveness, his coachability, his character on and off the field. I think that to me, he's the clear-cut number one in this class at quarterback. Now, is he going to be the best player out of this draft? I don't know. There's some guys with generational talent, at the very top. Could he be one of them? Yes. I really, when you take the whole package, I love it. But I haven't really scouted him that much because he's not coming to Pittsburgh. I mean, not right now. The Steelers can't get up to get him at one. Nor do I think that that's necessarily the right fit for Mendoza even. But yeah, I'm not again, I am not interested in Ty Simpson, especially in the first round.
And that's why I asked the question. If he's getting that kind of talk now, I don't know if Alabama's had their pro day yet, but if he's getting that kind of talk now, then that could move him up the draft board. Whether he won't pass Mendoza. I think Brady and the Raiders settle Mendoza.
Yeah.
But talk of that, put him in a discussion where he's potentially QB1 only boosts his value, which means teams could be seeking him earlier. And if that's how he's viewed, and if he drops to 21, would the Steelers be so inclined to potentially take him?
I
hope he's going. I hope it's not a choice.
Yeah. We have a super chat, by the way. I didn't know if you could see him, and I can't bring him up. So,
okay.
No, in my opinion, if he falls to 21, I don't consider that falling, because in my opinion, I had him once the rumor started that the Steelers might be considering him, and after I started doing my quick evaluations, I consider him at earliest late first. Preferably, I think he's anywhere in the 30s is where I think he should be drafted.
Ty Simpson?
Yeah, I do not think he's a first-round quarterback. I think there's too many good players in this draft, especially for the Steelers, where they have set themselves up for the best player available, with the signings that they've made the last couple of days, which we're going to talk about. I just think that it would be reaching is every bit as bad as the Kenny Pickett selection. I really believe that.
No, I agree with you. And I personally, we talking about the drafting. So, but the thing is that Orlovsky put good juju on his name, right? So does that boost him? And would it be considered a value for the Steelers? And I do think, I honestly think he goes 16 to the Jets. If it's me, I think they need a quarterback project. They just, it's not good for Ty Simpson, but the Jets need a quarterback. Yeah, I don't think either, but it's the Jets.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But I think the ideal place for him is a slip to the range you're saying, and the Rams pick him up to sit behind Stafford for the next year or two and play with Sean McVay or some place like that.
Yeah. I don't think he's ready. And he's just like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett came to the terrible system for his talents. Kenny Pickett should have been a Saint. Indoors playing in that offense, I think he would have had much more success early on. Having Canada as an offensive coordinator, he had no shot. Right. He was just a poor fit all the way around. But it was just the hometown. They were familiar with him. They talked to him in the facilities all the time. It was a reach, and they cannot do that again. This is, they have to make sense all the way around. Culture, fit, athleticism. That's why I'm saying that Ty Simpson has had limited college exposure and experience. He is not ready. He's going to, and the problem is you bring him in, even if you bring back Aaron Rodgers, you've got a year of him watching. But whenever he does play, he's not going to be ready. He needs more seasoning. He's going to struggle out of the gate. and then you're going to have the whole fan base hating him. And that's what happened with Wilson in New York. It happened with Darnold when he was first drafted. There's quarterbacks that have talent that get put in bad situations. And I think Ty Simpson coming to Pittsburgh would be a bad situation.
Agreed. Mean Joe. Thanks, Mean Joe, for the $5 super chat. Definitely. Well, thanks, Mean Joe, your username. And thank you, Mean Joe. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Mean Joe. Let's get that all the way right. Will Steelers sign another free agent wide receiver before the draft? Are Ayuk, Tyreek Hill, or Stephon Diggs on the radar, or on over the hill game? Oh, any juicy rumor circulating? My take on that question is no interest in Hill or Diggs, none at all. Not bring no more old weapons. And Ayuk, I think he's going to be a post-June 1 casualty. I think the 49ers are just holding on to him. See if they can elicit any type of trade value between now and then. But I wouldn't mind Ayuk as a cheap signing. I mean, San Francisco going to have to pay him the majority of his bread, so it'd kind of be like, a vet minimum. San Francisco paying him his money and have him as a third, fourth guy. But what are your thoughts on Mean Joe super chat, Shane?
Well, definitely thank you for the super chat, Mean Joe. Now, it's easy. My answer to this question is Ayuk is a space cadet. If you have listened to, just watch the podcast interview with George Kittle, who is like one of the leaders of the 49ers organization in the locker room, and him trying to reach out and figure out what was going on and try to be a mediary between the front office and the players. And, he tried to stay in contact with Ayuk, but Ayuk is he's a bubblehead. I mean, I have no interest in him whatsoever. Tyreek Hill, if anybody's been paying attention to the injury, the severity of his knee injury, we don't know of any player to ever come back from that severity that didn't lose something. That I don't mean they can't play again, but they're not the same. They lose a step, a half a step, whatever. Just recently look at Chubbs for Cleveland, and he's never been the same. And for a guy totally relying on his speed, Tyreek Hill just run away from everybody. He was the fastest guy in the NFL, let's be honest. And his acceleration was breathtaking. I don't think he'll ever get that back. So in my opinion, Tyreek Hill is done. So I'm not interested in that. And Stephon Diggs is just capital D. He's a massive drama queen. I better clarify what I mean by capital D. He's a capital drama queen. And the Steelers have no luck with those kind of players. So no, I'm not interested in any of those three guys at all. And I don't care what price it is. It could be the 1.3 veteran minimum. I don't want them because they ain't worth the drama. Now, you get a guy like Jennings, if the Niners can't work out something with him, he's an all-around quality receiver. I think he's wanting a little bit more than what teams are wanting to pay him. I think he's definitely wanting more than what the 49ers are wanting to pay him. So, in my opinion, I would avoid most of the free agent receivers that are left, and I would focus on the draft.
Yeah, no, I would focus on the draft, but I mean, if I give Ayuk an opportunity just to see. I mean, if you sign him for that, you could cut him out of camp if he's a problem. I mean, but yeah, I wouldn't depend on it. Not like a guy I need to depend on, a guy I want to take a swing at and see if it can be an addition to the room. Christine, Black and Gold, shout out, Boo, says, yeah, Ty Simpson is probably on the phone with Minka right now getting tips about putting on a happy face when he goes to the Jets. Right. Hey.
You better have some alcohol.
Minka asked for it, though. I mean, he negotiated the extension, his agent, to decide to stay in New York. And maybe Minka turns it around for him from the safety position. Who knows? We got another chat from Al on the Proud. In his opinion, one of the problems is that we care more about character than we do about talent. Talent, in my opinion, is way more important than character. You need both. You need both. I mean, character is an important component on a football team. Go ahead, Shane.
Talent is nothing without character. I mean, DK Metcalf has a ton of talent, but he hurt the team last year because he can't control himself. He acts like a big baby.
Yeah, but I'm not putting that on character. DK Metcalf's never really been a problem. There's a difference in somebody like.
Well, I mean,
I'll disagree
with that because DK had problems in Seattle. He had problems with teammates. He had problems with Russell Wilson. One of the reasons why Seattle would move on when a guy that talented, and teams are like, okay, yeah, we're ready to move on, and you say, well, they didn't want to pay him the money. Well, they just give the max contract to Abuke. Yeah, Abuke, however you say his last name, and
Jason.
Yes, and so, but there's a guy who's not a character problem. Again, the Steelers cannot. Because I'll tell you guys something I've always been a Steeler fan, but I have a lot of friends that like all different teams. You know, me and you both, we know people who are fans of all kind of teams. You tell me what fan base has the fanatical fans that are anywhere close to what the Steeler fans are. We expect more from these young men but everybody else. I talk to people from the Patriots, and they're fans, and you say, well, you know, they'll talk about some of the past great players from the past, but they don't even know half of the guys that they had on those Super Bowl winning teams. They only know Brady and Gronk and, you know, Seymour and guys like that. Well, you talk to Steeler fans, and they'll be talking about the third string edge guy, and is he coming back? You know, so what I'm saying is Steeler fans expect more. I think the organization expects more, and therefore character matters more. In a small market where Pittsburgh don't have an NBA team, they really haven't had a baseball team in a long time, but we won't go there. The hockey's been good for me, but the Steelers are it. They're like in a fishbowl, and the fan base is obsessed with the Steelers. Like you go to New York, you got 2 competing professional teams. You got 30 different reporters in the locker room. In Pittsburgh, there's nowhere to hide. And if you have guys with low character that cause problems in the locker room and cause problems off the field and out of the facilities, it is a major issue. And I just think that this organization can no longer undervalue the importance of character.
I agree. Like I said, it can be both. And do I think DK Metcalf's a character problem? I don't. I think he's a very upstanding young gentleman. He's good with the media. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. All that stuff. Is he a high head on the field in a violent kind of emotional game? Yes, he can be. Does that make him a character problem? No. Does he need to control his temper? Yes. So I won't give him character problem. Will I give AB character problem? I'll give AB character problem. And you know, Shannon, because you go back far enough to the Steel Curtain, we had a lot of characters on that team, and they were winning. It's a different day and age, but a lot of characters on that team. And you know, I think at some point everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I mean? No matter what you think of them, everybody's redeemable. Now, if it becomes a problem, then yeah, we let go of that guy. We get off that guy. It's not worth the headache. But if it's talented enough and we think we can work with him, do we see what that looks like? We do. George Pickens is working out well for Dallas right now. You know,
not really. Well, I mean, he had a good season, but they didn't accomplish that just because he got 1,300 yards or whatever. It didn't really make them a better team. They still didn't win anything. Again, I mean, statistics is one thing. Winners is something totally different. And winners will sacrifice statistics to get the win for the team. The guy who's just worried about his statistics throws a fit on the sidelines because he ain't seeing the ball, even when the team's winning. That's the stuff I look at. And that's who George Pickens is, and I don't want him around.
Okay. I mean, but A.J. Brown is that guy too. A.J. Brown got the Super Bowl. Like I said, it works both ways. Now, would I want to put with A.J. Brown's headache? I wouldn't, because A.J. Brown getting paid $30 million.
But A.J. Brown become a problem after they won the Super Bowl.
Did he win out of Tennessee?
No. But he wasn't the superstar he became when he got to Philadelphia, and Hurts and company led him to a Super Bowl. And
he was part of a good team.
I'm worried about my numbers. I'm worried about feeding my family and my however many illegitimate kids and everything else. Listen, I don't want those guys. What you just bottom line, the organization's better off without those type of headaches. And now you've got a situation that the Eagles were a championship team, and now their window is closing. And one of the reasons why is because he's a selfish player.
I don't disagree, and I mean he's proven himself right now. But the DK thing I'll disagree with, and I know, and we'll get into the draft stuff. But let's talk about the potential quarterbacks that have been brought up this week. There's talk about Drew Allar again, a potential Drew Allar, Will Howard competition if they were to draft Drew Allar. Potential competition with Michigan versus Ohio State. The Steelers were able to trade for J.J. McCarthy, give up a draft pick for that. And one of the top 40 visits they had in, I believe, this weekend, Cole Payton, quarterback, North Dakota State University. Mm-hmm. Any of those guys, Shane, what do you think about any of those guys? And first, what do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do? Not what you want him to do. You want him to go away. What do you think he's going to
do? Yeah, I agree. I think he'll come back. Like I said, I don't want that. I think it will hinder any young skill position guys they get. Because
is Aaron Rodgers a character problem?
Aaron Rodgers is who he is. I mean, what I'm saying is, you get a guy in, a guy that's in his 40s, and you bring him in. He's not a guy that you can bring in and then bench him. He's coming in. He's starting. Now, where do I see a issue? Is he played reasonably well behind at times questionable offensive line. It improved, but at times it was questionable. He had very little skill position talent. His best receiver and only really receiver was DK. And I love everything about DK, but he just doesn't have good hands. We've seen that too many times with key drops in key places. Then he's throwing to Gainwell because that was his only other reliable target. But my problem is he wants to play with guys that he thinks he knows what they're going to do. And so the character problem is stubbornness. At the end of the Cleveland game that they lost, he had open guys on 2 straight plays, and he forced the ball to Vandell Scantling.
MVS, yeah.
Yeah, because he's familiar with him, and he wanted to throw it to him, even though he was tightly covered both times when he had open guys. See, that's what I'm saying. A stubborn guy doesn't want to work with the Roman Wilson until he works the kinks out and you develop trust that he's going to be where he's supposed to be. And you can communicate without belittling a guy on the field and showing him up, on the field or on the sidelines, which he's bad to do. When he makes a mistake, he always blames it on somebody else. That is a problem for a team that needs Rodgers to be that leader and develop these young guys that hopefully with 12 draft picks, they're going to bring in some talented young men, especially the skill positions. I don't think he's the guy to do it. And I'd rather see a young nucleus grow together, and we'll have growing pains, fine, but they will improve because if you get guys with good character, they'll put in the work ethic, and you have a competent NFL-sized coaching staff. And that's how you develop. I just think not being willing to admit it's a rebuild and trying one more year to bring back a retread in Rodgers is just going to delay everything one season.
No, I don't disagree with you. I mean, but the players, like Aaron Rodgers, a lot of the players want him to come back. The fact that we're going through this for a second season, that's partly on the Steelers too. I'm sure the Steelers know something. I think he's coming back now. We as fans, because like you mentioned before, the fan base. We get all up in arms over stuff. The Steelers know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. Whether they've told us or not, just, calm down a little bit. It'll be okay. But I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers the grade that you gave some of those receivers, the big D, and that's drama, because if he's nothing else, he's definitely that. He's definitely that. But we're going to take our break real quick, and we're going to come back and talk about some of the young options I mentioned real quick. Then we'll get into some other components of the draft and what we think's to come for the rest of the offseason as we go into the draft. Not the rest of the offseason, because a lot of offseason left. But as we embark upon the draft, which is actually 4 weeks from this Thursday. So, it's less than a month away. A month today, actually, the 23rd. Yeah, 23rd of April. So it's that Thursday. So if you're watching on YouTube, stay with us. If you listen on audio platform, we have to hear a few words from our partners and advertisers. And we'll be right back after this on the Hangover podcast on Monday night. We'll be right. And your boy Tate gets a big fine because we're back on the Hangover podcast on a Monday night, missing the homie Daniel J, but you got me and the triple OG Shannon here in the building talking Pittsburgh Steelers football. We've kind of talked about the signing of Travis Homer thus far. We got into some questions, potential wide receiver acquisitions. We're talking about what we think Aaron Rodgers is going to do and the potential to bring in a young quarterback to compete with Will Howard, which is a possibility. Mm-hmm. And the possibility that Will Howard just serves as your rookie quarterback this year because he didn't get much rec last year. Shannon, what are your thoughts on that and any of these quarterbacks we named, be it Cole Payton, be it Drew Allar, be it trading for J.J. McCarthy, any of those guys? What are your thoughts around any of that?
Well, I'm on record. I believe that Will Howard should get a chance to compete for the starting position. We see nothing last year other than people got to see him at training camp because he was hurt and didn't get to play at all. So I'd like to, you can't hand him the starting position, but you want to let him compete, have an open competition. And I know if you have three quarterbacks, you really don't have one. But you're going to have to figure out what you do have. And you use training camp. You use preseason to figure that out. And then, you go into the season and you have to learn to display some patience with whoever the quarterback's going to be. But I'm not saying Will Howard is the answer, and I cannot say he's not because we just don't know till we see. If a guy like Drew Allar, I think that's a young man that fits the culture, especially the environment, the conditions, the elements in Pittsburgh. He has the size, the arm, and he never had an outstanding supporting cast on offense at the skill positions at Penn State at any time. I think the only standout was Warren, the tight end. So a lot of these young quarterbacks that are coming in the NFL this year had some outstanding talent at the skill positions, and more so than Drew Allar had. So I do believe that he would be a good option, a good target, maybe in the third round. And as far as J.J. McCarthy goes, I've been really high on J.J. I thought that he had a really bright future in Minnesota. And I think they might be counting their losses a little too quick. And so there's a sneaky good signing. If you could somehow trade for him at a good cost, not give up too much. I think you got a first-round talent that could actually fit in the Steelers system, in McCarthy's system. And, again, I don't want to compare everybody to Sam Darnold, but Darnold went through a few systems and a few organizations till he found one that fit him and he fit the skill set. And was he not good at any of the other ones? No, he wasn't as good as he was last year, obviously. But he learned at each stop. And he matured. And he knew what he had when he was in Minnesota. And he led them to, what was it, a 13-4 record? And so when he went into Seattle, it was the confluence of a perfect storm, so to speak. Kind of like when Jim Plunkett took over for the Raiders back in the early 80s and won Super Bowls. He had been a guy that was looked at as a bust, and then he won a couple of Super Bowls because he was the perfect fit on that team. I think Darnold kind of did that last year, and I think I would be fine with Will Howard, JJ, and then you can still draft you a quarterback, like you mentioned, Cole Payton. Cole Payton is a great athlete. He has a lot of intangibles. He's left-handed. He's very athletic. He has prototypical height, speed, arm strength, which he can throw the ball in the windy conditions and the elements in Pittsburgh. So, I've heard people talk about Anthony Richardson, who I don't want. But again, because of some character issues, he quit on his team. But Cole Payton, would it be a guy that if you got him, say, 4th round, 5th round, I mean, hey, that guy could come in. He's not ready to play right off, obviously. But he could come in, do the tush push, and see what you can develop by having him as your third down or your third string emergency quarterback.
Okay. I missed Steeler Lee's comment earlier. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat, Steeler Lee. We certainly appreciate you over here. I say kind of disagree. You can't have a team full of choir boys and expect to win. Every team has potential crash outs. It's just to what level crash out. All right. Concur with that. Kind of agree. When you're not going to have it's football. You're not going to have a team full of choir boys. You can't have cancers to the team. Can you have some guys that play outside the lines? I mean, Jamar Chase spit on Jalen Ramsey last year. Terrible thing, poor character thing to do. Would I take Jamar Chase? Yeah, I'm taking Jamar Chase. I mean, so it's levels to it, so I get it. But thanks for the super chat, Steeler Lee. As far as the quarterbacks go that we talked about, again, Drew Allar, I like the 6'5", 235, strong arm, played at Penn State, grew up in Ohio outside of Cleveland, so the elements will be nothing to him. He's used to all that, agreed. He did play with lackluster outside talent at Penn State, but he did play for a top 5 ranked team going into last season and didn't play well. He didn't get hurt to the game they lost after they lost to Penn State. They lost to Northwestern in Oregon. They won a losing streak. He was part of all that. I believe he threw for under 60%, and he's not accurate. So I like him as a traits guy, strong arm, big frame, a little bit of athleticism. That's similar to Will Howard to me. I do like Cole Payton a lot, and I get him cheaper. I got to get Will Howard probably the 3rd round, maybe the last pick of the 3rd round, which is 99. But if you want to be safe, you might take him at 85. I'd much rather have 5 players out there first 100. I'd much rather have my guard, my wide receiver, a safety, a linebacker, and whatever else you need with those first 5 picks. If Drew Allar sitting there in the 4th and pick 121, do I consider it? Maybe, but not before then for me. Cole Payton in the 5th or 6th, I get along with that. He's a proven winner. He won in a smaller division before he went to North Dakota State last year. He won last year North Dakota State. 6'3", 220, 225-ish. I think he's left-handed too. That'll be a different.
He's left, yeah.
I think that'd be a different twist. And I do agree that he wouldn't be ready to play, but is he a guy you bring in just to have on your developmental squad? Behind Aaron Rodgers this year, potentially Will Howard. Ideally like to see Will Howard beat out Mason Rudolph. I'd like to see that. Just for Will Howard's progression, right?
Yeah.
That way he would get all the second team reps throughout the year, whether Aaron Rodgers playing or not. He'd get another year directly under Aaron Rodgers, game prep and going over stuff with Aaron Rodgers, which helps his football and quarterback development. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers is good for that because he's like a processor. He's like a computer brain. He's like a Tom Brady type as far as the preparation of the game, not on the field per se or attitude-wise, but as far as breaking down film and watching stuff and stuff like that, Aaron Rodgers is good at that. And the last guy, JJ McCarthy, I can see what that look like because, again, I'm a firm believer in adding talent to the room. Yep. He's first-round talent. If you can get him for a third-round pick, I'd rather spend a third-round pick on that with JJ McCarthy than a third-round pick on Drew Allar. So if we're talking about that, that would probably be my first option because then at least I think you're trying to get a guy that McCarthy can get his hands on and develop for the future of you getting your first round guy, just not in the first round. Yeah. And he's young enough and he could grow with Mike McCarthy for the next 2 or 3 years and he develop an offense that works for him. And I like the potential of that. So of those 3 choices, Aaron Rodgers obviously be one. Will Howard deserves a chance, but I'd rather see him compete with a JJ McCarthy for a third-round pick, and I'd rather see taking Cole Payton in the 5th or 6th round and drafting Drew Allar in the 3rd round. So those are of those quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think that they're definitely going to add a quarterback, I believe, in this draft class, and I believe they're going to utilize this excessive amount of picks to move up to target a guy that they really want in maybe the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. Not, necessarily. I know they got 3 picks, but who's to say they won't package maybe a couple times to move up in that round and get guys they really want if they're that high on Drew Allar, which I think you could get Cole Payton maybe the 5th round, as you mentioned. And because, again, he's had limited experience. Not at a Power 5, but even in North Dakota, he had 1 year. And it was impressive. And he's got a little bit of that Big Ben, Josh Allen, backyard football, run around, extend the play, make a play down the field. And he has a lot of moxie.
Good,
that's the kind of player.
Quarterback, good trait.
Yeah, I think it's something that Jalen Hurts has it. There's guys that have that trait that are competitors and they win. Again, to me, winning is what matters. To me, that Bo Nix has a lot of that too. Bo Nix has, Bo Nix has exceeded my expectations big time. And see, I did not think that Caleb Williams had moxie. I seen the pain and nails and crying in his mama's lap when he lost in college, and I'm like, I do not want him. But they went out and got Ben Johnson, and Ben is an outstanding offensive coordinator. He knows how to nurture. He knows how to design an NFL game plan. He knows how to design receivers open. And if you have a quarterback with Williams' talent and his accuracy and his ability, his mobility, and his football IQ, Williams and him is a match made in heaven, like Bill Walsh and Joe Montana. And they just lit up people last year. I mean, Williams was leading Chicago back at the end of games repetitively. That's the kind of quarterback you need. That's the kind of quarterback you want, who's not a shrinking violet, who doesn't choke or collapse in the big moments. And so I think the Bears finally found a head coach. They finally found a quarterback, and he could easily be the best quarterback in the modern era. I don't want to discount some of the guys in the old timers, AFL and stuff like that, but I'm saying in the modern era, Williams will easily be the best quarterback the Chicago Bears ever had. But a lot of that's caused of Ben Johnson and a competent system finally in Chicago.
A competent system taking advantage of number 1 overall pick talent also. I mean, Caleb Williams brings a lot to the table. Now, Ben Johnson has put him in position to showcase it.
Yeah, but he didn't look like that as a rookie. But Ben Johnson comes in, and I've heard people say, well, they didn't really have all that much of a receiver, which I think Odunze is a really good receiver. I think that DJ Moore was a quality receiver. They had
Caleb Williams, Odunze, both rookies last year in the first game.
And so I think that they, you give him more talent to work with, as you say. But I think Ben Johnson had a huge part in that turnaround. Because, again, that head coach starting quarterback dynamic is so underrated. You have to be a true offensive juggernaut, you have to have that connection between that head coach and that quarterback. A lot of it's a trust factor. And there's a communication factor. Can that head coach communicate what he really wants with that quarterback without taking away his confidence? So that's where a defensive-minded coach like Mike Tomlin saying, don't make a mistake, don't throw over the middle, protect the ball every time you come off the field. That guy's never going to develop and nurture. It's not a nurturing system. It's a limiting system.
And the Bears season ended with Caleb Williams throwing an interception in the playoff game, as we thought he was going to drive him down the field. But, yeah, Ben Johnson, great offensive play caller, great coach, good hire for Chicago. Caleb Williams, excellent pick, who I think now of that good quarterback draft, even including Drake May, I think Caleb Williams is probably the best in the draft from a talent perspective. But Drake May looked really good last. I can't just say that because
but right now,
had one good year, his only year.
To me, Williams looks special.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So, as long as they keep that dynamic between Ben Johnson and him together, I think, that's a good thing about it. Ben had a good working relationship with Tomlin because he was already pretty much developed into what he became once Tomlin came aboard. And, at first it was a lot. He dealt with Arians and because he didn't deal well with
Haley,
but he did do well with Arians and so forth. It took that before him to finally reach his potential.
Yeah, and last comment, there was a Tarek, I'm with you. I want to go for a QB next year. I don't see the need to draft a quarterback before the fifth round. Now, if you want to throw a shot because you're going to bring a guy in, but I don't want to draft anything that's going to cost me more. Definitely not a third. But if you see Drew Allar and he's the guy at 4, I get it. But I'd rather wait till somebody like and Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, in his last mock draft, had the Steelers taking Cade Klubnik in the 6th round. I like that too. I like Cade Klubnik in the 6th over Drew Allar. Yeah. So only because in the 3rd, I still get another starter at a position that we need, right? I mean, that's how I look at it. Nothing against Drew Allar, because I do think he's a talent with traits that just needs work, and hopefully it works out. But do I want to spend a 3rd round pick on that, or would I rather spend a 6th round pick on another guy that, like Cade Klubnik, was 1st round talent last year and didn't work out? But yeah, man. So as we move along, Shannon, I mean, so the draft is all the big talk. Everybody's doing their mock drafts today. I was on the show on the Know-It-Alls channel this afternoon with Mod's Unbiased Opinion. He put me on the spot. Did a mock draft live on the spot at that time, and my first 3 picks were, and then I didn't make any trades. Everything fell to me. Jordan Tyson, Keelan Rutledge. Is it Anthony Hill, the linebacker from Texas?
Yes.
Anthony Hill. I remember my first 5 and 100. Anthony Hill. Then I got the cornerback out of Georgia. His name is missing me. But the real good physical corner out of Georgia, and the Corleone, the D tackle out of Cincinnati with the 99th, the 5th pick of the top 5. So, what direction you see the draft going, Shannon? Like, are you all on board with the line? I mean, I think if Vega falls, Big G's been pounding the table for Vega for the past 6 to 8 weeks now. I like Vega. If Vega's at 21, it's a heavy consideration. But I think the Steelers could go either way with that 1st round pick. And I think they go anyway, not either way, anyway with the 1st round pick. What are you thinking right now as we sit here exactly a month out from probably around the time the Steelers make their pick? I mean, it's about 10 o'clock at pick 21. We might be talking about the Steelers around 10 o'clock a month from today, making a pick in Pittsburgh for the draft. What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, it's rapidly approaching.
Rapidly.
And I'm very excited. I've really been a big Tyson fan for a long time because of his ties to Hines Ward. And, I like young men that want to be Steelers. They come in kind of knowing what to expect, knowing the culture. They want to be part of that. More worried about developing a legacy in Pittsburgh than their initial contract demands, which, thankfully with the draft slotting now, it's, you don't have to fight as much.
You know what it is. Yeah. So I think that pick for the Steelers, 21, is like the rookie contract for that slot is like $3.9 million.
Yeah, somewhere right in that range, a little under 4, I think.
Right.
I'm a little concerned about Tyson. Only from there's no question with his athleticism, his talent. I don't have a character concern. I do have a health concern. They said he had a grade 3 or 4 hamstring, and he missed a large part of the season. Then he couldn't work out at the combine, and then he couldn't run at his pro day. So when you don't get to time a guy, the Steelers didn't have a Najee Harris. Najee Harris' big weakness is he did not have an extra gear at all. And a lot of his runs that went for 10 to 15 yards could easily went for 30 or longer if he had any extra gear that he did not have. A first-round wide receiver, in my opinion, you can run a 4-5. I'm okay with that, but I want to see the ability to separate. And especially to be able to maintain top speed in and out of your cuts, different things. So for me, Tyson is kind of, if I moved back, it would be a no-brainer. At one point, I'd have said, yes, I want him in the first. Now, I'm not as sure. I do love Vega Ioane. I'm a huge fan of him. I think that he solidifies that line. To whereas if Cook works out, if Jones comes back, whatever, that's where you're focused on developing, because I think the offensive line would be set. And I think that'll help a young quarterback this year or next year. It will help Rodgers if he comes back. It'll help a running backfield that has a ton of talent now. I mean, if you think about Warren, and you think about Dowdle,
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Between Tyson and Cooper, Tyson's the better talent. Yeah? Amari Cooper.
I like Cooper better.
As a talent.
Yes. But again, I'm talking about the whole complete package. Cooper is extremely durable. He's extremely tough. He's hard-skinned. Like I said, I know the coach he played for. I know.
Well, you know the coach that Tyson played for, wide receiver coach specifically.
Yes, but again, having a head coach, his head coach was on them. Like I said, the guy could be winning 59-0, and you make a mistake with a little bit to go in the fourth quarter. He's pissed, and that's what he's going to talk about in the next team meeting. That's the kind of guy he is. He's a perfectionist. If you could play for him, now he loves his players. He did something special in Indiana this year, guys. He is a great guy. They're going to love him forever, but he ain't easy to play for. So you had to be a thick-skinned, hard-nosed player, and you had to accept the fact you're going to get yelled at. And now if you got a big ego, like a lot of the NFL receivers we've been talking about tonight, you ain't playing for that guy. And so that's not who McCarthy is. McCarthy, his coaching staff is not made up of those kind of guys. But you can bring in a guy like Cooper. He will take good counsel. A wise man will take smart counsel. He will come in and he's coachable. That's important. And Cooper has got above the line qualities across the board athletically. He might be a slightly behind Tyson athletically in certain areas, but I think he's more reliable. He's more durable. He's more coachable. And I think he's a perfect fit for the Steeler culture. Because, again, I want to rebuild this roster in a hard-nosed team-first fashion. And I think that's what McCarthy is trying to do. And I know somebody mentioned earlier, how many new coaches? I mean, the Steelers have got at least 8 new coaches. When you go positional coaches, you go coaches for analytics, there's people who just collect data and tendencies of the opponents. They've got a new staff that is a quality NFL quality size and experienced staff that McCarthy's brought in. So I think you will see a difference. I think you will see in-game adjustments, something that the Steelers have struggled to do. So yeah, I am really big. For me, I know we're going to do a mock draft, maybe even next week on our show here. We would have tonight, but Daniel is out, of course. But right now, I mean, if it could be like Vega, move up in the second to get Cooper, because if he makes it to the second, you're going to have to move up to get him. I like Corleone. I think you mentioned him. I like Hill or Rodriguez in the second or third, which I don't think Hill or Rodriguez will make it to. Trotter might make it to early third. But again, I like that thought process. Is those players, those type of players, and kind of in the order you mentioned.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, to me, if Tyson's there, like Christine said, I can't pass that talent up. We've done that too often. And the fact that I love Vega, I don't think Vega will be there. But the fact that I love Vega, and the fact I can get Keelan Rutledge in the second round makes me feel comfortable with those decisions.
And Rutledge is very good. Yes.
Yeah. He's
not Vega, but he's good.
He's not Vega, but he's
yeah.
I compared him to the mentality wise to McCormick, and Big G said, yeah, but he's better than McCormick on the field. Same mentality, but better player.
But McCormick was what, fourth round?
Fourth round, yeah.
So that it makes sense,
But that same road raider mentality,
exactly, yeah.
I think that's the type of player you talking about.
Yeah.
Also, I think probably a good character kid. I mean, I don't know him, but I don't know any of these kids. Yeah. I mean, but he comes across like that. But yeah, so Tyson, I can't pass that talent up. We haven't drafted a first round receiver in forever. I mean, I liked Pickens coming out of college. We got him in the second only because of injury. Jordan Tyson, the hamstring is soft tissue injury. I think by the time OTA started and stuff like that, he would be okay if the Steelers got him. I mean, his knee injury was 2.5 seasons ago at Colorado before he transferred to Arizona State, and that got all fixed. No, that's been no issue. The other injury was a broken clavicle bone. That's just a bad hit on a football field that can happen to anybody. Then there's this hamstring injury. So I'm not as much concerned about the injury. And I do feel like the Omar Khan scouting department and general manager scouting staff has taken chances on guys like Darnell Washington, Peyton Wilson, Derek Harmon last year. I mean, sometimes you just take your shots when your shots are available to take. I mean, we talked about at the end of the season, Jordan Tyson being like one of the top 3 receivers, and all of them potentially going in the top 10 at the time. Now the board plays out, combines happen, pro days happen, and things change. But I still know the on-field talent. I watched the analysis of him by not Phil Sims, the other Sims, his son, Chris Sims. Chris Sims today talking about how good Tyson is. He's the best overall receiver of all of them, he thinks, in the draft. So I can't pass that up. I like Tyson. I do like Vega. Like I said, I don't think Vega's there.
I heard a comparison, Tate, of Cooper and somebody closer to my age said that he's got some Lynn Swan traits.
Oh,
and if you watch him, there was only one Swan. Swan had a 40-some inch vertical, and he would use it on the field. I mean, he flew through there, and he didn't care if he got flipped and landed on his head. He didn't care. He went and got the ball. So he played like he was 6'5", but he was 6 foot. And Cooper's about 6 foot. But
in that game against Penn State, he looked like it was a Lynn Swan catch in the back of the end zone.
Exactly. So, and I knew I liked him a lot, and he did remind me of somebody, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I think it might be because Swan's my favorite receiver, and I loved him from the time I was a kid. And I guess I do see it. And maybe that's why I like him so much. But I just think, to me, of all the top receivers, Cooper is the safest. I don't know if he has the highest ceiling, but I think he's got the highest floor. I think that
I agree with that.
He will be a solid pro. Could be special, but he'll at least be solid. I can almost bet you.
And I completely 100% totally agree with that statement right there. And I think that's what we do too often is we go for safe and don't go for big swings.
Yeah.
And I want to see the Steelers take a swing. If that guy is there, and I gotta see. I mean, I understand the safe pick, the solid pick, the Jarvis Landry, not Odell Beckham Jr. pick, but as far as on field, right? I mean, Jarvis Landry was that gritty, grindy in his prime, played for the Dolphins, even some good years with the Browns, that physical across the middle, catch everything guy, 100 catches a year, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
But Odell Beckham was that difference maker, that playmaker on the field, not talking about the antics off the field. On the field, Jordan Tyson is more Odell Beckham. Omar Cooper is more the other guy.
Landry.
Landry. Jarvis, thank you. Jarvis Landry. Yeah. So I just want to take a swing. I agree with everything you said. If I get Cooper, if neither with Vega or Tyson not there, and I can trade back and get Cooper at 27, 28 and gain an asset to trade up again for somebody else, I do that. But if the talent is sitting there at 21, I'm taking a swing. But I understand what you're saying.
But I also will say this: the advantages that Tyson has is his height. I don't think he's faster than Cooper. He has height and a better reach. I haven't. Again, I think the fit in Pittsburgh is better with Cooper. And I'll go so far as to say, when I say he's the safest, I don't mean that he can't be every bit as good as Tyson. I'll go so far as to say if Cooper's there at 21 and Tyson, I would take Cooper just based on the durability. And I think that in the long run, and we'll revisit this 2 or 3 years, or maybe even longer if they have good careers. But I think that Cooper will be every bit as good. I would think he has the capabilities of being better than Tyson.
Okay.
Especially if Tyson goes to the wrong team. As we know, that kills these young talents.
No. And Cooper could very well be picked late and go to the Rams and play with Puka.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
anybody that could go play in L.A. Indoors with Stafford and Puka, they're blessed.
Immediate impact.
Exactly.
Immediate impact. But yeah, Shannon, man, it's been fun. We've had a lot of discussion, a lot of contrasting opinions on certain stuff, but that's what we do. We go back and forth about our opinions and thoughts on things. I think that makes for a healthy discussion. And Steeler Nation gets involved and say, I disagree, don't agree, good take, no take,
Yeah.
So it's been fun. Anything you want to say before you're ready to get out of here, man?
No, I have to say, well, thanks for filling in for my buddy Daniel. But you're already part of our team. So, but miss Daniel, but I'm sure he'll be back next week. And, but thank you for everybody. Just seeing that, talking about his vertical and he's 40. An excellent athlete, excellent young man. I appreciate everybody. We rely on this community, on your all's comments and your support, and we appreciate all of you.
We certainly do appreciate you guys. You'll next find me Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday on Tate's Take during the day, then in the evening. Smash the gas and coast to coast late night after that because Devin's on the West Coast, so we usually go about 9:30 Eastern, between 9:30 and 9:45. So we'll be talking about some different Steelers stuff and taking questions and stuff. So you next see me Wednesday. Tomorrow, tap into Big G's Keeping It 100 at noon, lunchtime. See what Big G has to say. I'm sure it'll be a lot, but tap into that. And we see you guys the rest of the week. I'll be back on Friday on the Steel Curtain Network with the homies B Dirt and Pay. And we're already talking about, I think I already have that show set to go. We'll be talking about on Friday on the homies, we'll be talking about the quarterbacks in the North, like two been there, done that guys, and the other guys we don't know much about I have Will Howard pitcher because he's the only quarterback outside Max Rudolph under contract, and Shador Sanders and what those teams do. So we'll talk about all that stuff this Friday on the homies. And until then, for myself and Shannon, Daniel J be back with us next week. Thanks everybody for tapping in, and we out on the Hangover. Thanks for tapping in. Peace.